montage that, like, hey, the war is now over.
Congrats, guys, you did it.
My favorite kind of movie montage of time passing through newspaper headlines, where we see...
It wasn't Bubble, though. Bubble is always
Bubble.
best.
Bubble is best, but if you can't get a bubble, newspaper will do.
Newspaper will do! Store-bought is fine!
Exactly, that is store-bought is fine energy.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business.
Mamma mia, here I go again. My.
Of the music
I don't consider myself a very, like, Christmas-obsessed person because I love Thanksgiving so much. I greatly detest that Christmas decorations go up the second Halloween is over. One, because I love Halloween, but two, Thanksgiving is very important to me.
Yes, you and me both.
However, at the Rockettes last night and during this movie, I was just like, I really like Christmas songs.
I know. Well, and I find it, especially because, you know, being on the southern half of the planet, it's not a white Christmas. In fact, it is quite warm here right now. I'm really missing cold Christmases. It's been like 3 years since I've had one. I really miss an actual white Christmas.
Also, the song they sing in the Rockettes that's about specifically New York City at Christmas, Tears.
Oh.
Tears.
Oh, yeah.
New York
that's
at
fair.
Christmas. Ah! That's not what we're here to talk about today. Hello! Welcome back.
Hi!
Welcome to the podcast. This is 5678, a movie musical podcast where we review and recap movie musicals. And today, this is our special holiday winter Christmas episode. We are doing the 1954 Irving Berlin's White Christmas, starring Bing Crosby, Rosemary Clooney, Vera Allen, and Phil, Donnie Kaye? And Phil.
Poor Phil. That's the character name, y'all. That's not actually the actor name. What is the actor name?
What is his name?
Danny Kaye.
Danny
That's
Kaye.
what it is.
I was right.
Hell yes.
I have not watched this movie since last Christmas, but it is a tradition to watch it every Christmas, to the point where I was telling Mike I was watching it, and he said, but you watched it last year. And I'm like, yeah. That's the point.
That's the most confusing statement I've ever heard. As a serial movie rewatcher, you watched this last year is like, so it's time. Like,
yeah.
What a silly
your
statement.
Point is?
What's your point? Anna, I had never seen this movie.
This is a movie you hadn't seen?
I had never seen this movie.
Oh, I'm reflecting now. I'm like, this was a brand new experience for you. Oh, I can't wait to hear what you think of certain numbers.
Yeah, it was. I had some questions.
I have thoughts and opinions about some things.
Yep.
Oh, wow. I'm so excited to talk about this. I was excited to talk about it already, but now I'm excited to talk about it for different reasons. So, first things first, we get our big title card, we get our long intro sequence, and we also get, I didn't know this, but one of the title cards is that this is the first film of VistaVision. And I was like, what is VistaVision?
What is
this? VistaVision was created in 1954, so the year this movie was made, by Paramount Pictures as a direct competing format with CinemaScope, because CinemaScope was 20th Century Fox's, it was licensed to them.
I guess.
No, it was licensed to them, so other studios couldn't use it. It's an aspect ratio. I always think of the Hairspray line, where, like, this show isn't broadcast in CinemaScope. It's It's wider. Yeah. But I thought it was so funny that Paramount was like, fuck, we got to get on this.
I know.
We'll make
what
our
do we
own.
call it? But because they made it slightly taller, it is easier to translate into modern screens. So a lot of the movies done in VistaVision are much better quality to view now because it translates better into our current way that we view movies. And it's like what is considered to be the first reach at high def, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. All right, we start. Not where I remembered that we started. We start.
Nope.
Europe, 1944, the war.
The war.
It's Christmas Eve during World War II in Europe, where all Christmas movies start.
Oh, good.
We meet two of our main characters, Bob Wallace, played by Bing Crosby, and Phil Davis, played by Danny Kaye. They are both actively in the army, but it is Christmas Eve, and Bob Wallace is a singer, in addition to being a captain in the army. And Phil Davis accompanies him, and they put on a bit of an impromptu show for the troops because it's Christmas Eve. They sing some Christmas songs, and this is the 151st Division. We get I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas.
That's the opening. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's Bing Crosby. Like, what do you want?
Bing Crosby, his voice. Oh,
and then Bob Wallace makes us a bit of an announcement afterwards saying that their general of this division is going to be leaving. He has been retired, essentially.
So we see him in a bit of a scene beforehand, and where he's bringing in the new general, who seems like a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
But the current general, whose name is Waverly, he like is using a stick as a crutch. So
yeah,
it looks
so
as
maybe
though
he
may
got
have been
injured.
And so part of the reason why he's being retired is that he is injured.
Bob Wallace makes this announcement to the troops being like, as you know, our beloved general is retiring, and they sing a song for him, and then they realize he's been in the audience all along.
The whole time. The song that they sing to him is The Old Man.
Yes.
Which is just a bunch of guys, you know, showing their love and appreciation for their leader.
Yeah. General Waverly makes his presence known, he delivers an emotional farewell, and he doesn't really know how to finish, so they take it away in song, and the general leaves, having thanked them, and goes off in a jeep, and then war interrupts the song.
The second he leaves, bombs drop.
War happens. They get bombed, and Phil saves Bob's life by pulling him out of the way of some collapsing, like a wall collapsing.
A wall that's falling down, yeah.
Phil gets a little injured. He gets like a big old gash on his shoulder or whatever.
Yeah, it's not that bad. Like, it's not...
No.
Destroyed, but this guy hams it up for the rest of the movie.
And so, that takes us to the infirmary where Bob goes to visit Phil, and he's like, "Oh my, like, thank you for saving my life. Like, if there's anything ever I can do for you, you let me know. But like, think about it
now that you mention it.
While I have you."
Since you've said that, I have this song that I've written because Bob is this famous performer from back home.
Yeah,
and
like
so
whenever
hey,
whenever Bob is done, he's going back and like resuming his very successful job as a singer.
Career.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I have this song that I wrote. I think it would be great. Do you and it would be really helpful for me if you could sing it in your act. And he's like, oh yeah, call me up whenever back home. He's like, surprise, surprise, I have it with me right here. And like hands him the sheet music, and it's for a duet. And so he's like, well, what do you mean? I'm a one-man act.
I work alone.
And Phil's like, or
what if you weren't?
What if you weren't? And then he like grabs his arm that's injured, and he's like, and so Bob ends up feeling obligated to agree to being a double act, to like sacrificing his entire career because of this guy. It's so insane. This is insane.
It is insane. However, it pays off because our next we get a montage
off.
That like, hey, the war is now over.
Congrats, guys, you did it.
My favorite kind of movie montage of time passing through newspaper headlines where we see...
It wasn't Bubble, though. Bubble is always
Bubble.
best.
Bubble is best, but if you can't get a bubble, newspaper will do.
Newspaper will do. Store-bought is fine.
Exactly. That is store-bought is fine energy. We get a montage of their duo act getting successful. They're known as Wallace and Davis. They start small, and then they get bigger and bigger. Eventually, they get their own radio show, which is successful.
Yes.
And their next step is producing. They produce
And star in
a show called, was it Playing Around?
Playing Around. Yeah.
Hey, I was right.
And apparently it's going great. It was on Broadway for like 2 years, and now they're playing in Florida.
Thank you, because I was confused by this. And there is there'd been a trivia later at the end that I'm going to bring this back, but the tagline on the poster for Playing Around is like, successful 2 years on Broadway, but then we were in Florida, and I was confused how we got to Florida.
They did a tour.
I guess they're doing a tour or like a residency, but anyway,
yeah.
Cut to Florida. It is now the week before Christmas-ish. As you said, Bob and Phil are the producers, but they're also starring in it, so they're like quasi-bosses. And we see backstage at the theater, Bob running around kind of giving orders, like signing some paperwork, and we learn through exposition that they're about to go on a week-long break for the show. It's like a holiday break. They're going to pay all the actors, but they're like giving them a break.
Thank you.
So nice. But not for Bob and Phil. They are catching a train back to New York tonight because they're going to perform like a couple of the numbers on the Ed Harrison show the next day as kind of like a great promotion for the show. So they don't get a break, but the rest of the performers get a break.
So this is what Bob is setting up. Now, Phil, in the meantime, is trying to set Bob up with anyone, really. And Phil is just the weirdest fucking man. I don't understand him as a concept. He's so bizarre. His voice cracks all the time. And I'm like, are you going through puberty?
There's some character inconsistencies. I'll give you that.
Yeah, well, he was not the first choice for this role, so.
Who was?
And we'll get through that. There were several people that they went through before they got to this man.
I mean, he does a fine job, but I think it's the writing of the character that's like a little.
We'll also talk about the writing because anyway, so he's trying to set someone up, but Bob really isn't interested. But they end up going off into their dressing room together, and Phil is like, listen, you've gone work crazy. If you get a girl, then maybe I can have some time off because we are just running nonstop.
Yeah.
And I just want to have some time to myself, some time to live my life.
Yeah, which is a valid argument.
Absolutely fair. And Bob sort of opens up a little bit to him and is like, listen, I do want to settle down eventually. I do want to have a family. I do want to have kids. I have not met a single girl in show business who's interested in like having a family or like that sort of relationship. And so I'm not interested. And that's also very fair.
But so they're packing up to catch this train to New York that evening. But first, they're going to go to another club in Florida because they have received a letter from an old army pal, Ben, quote unquote, Freckleface Haynes, who has written them to be like, hey, my sisters are doing an act at this club in Florida. I think they're really swell. Would you... Would you like go see their act and maybe
and, like,
give them some
advice.
pointers? Yeah.
And so they decide to go. So they go to this club that the girls are performing at, and backstage we meet
the girls,
Betty and Judy. Betty played by Rosemary Clooney, Judy played by
Vera Ellen. Betty is the older of the sisters.
So they are told, oh, these two very famous men are here to see you.
Yeah, they've got a table right up front.
And Betty is just like, oh, how did this happen? And it is sort of revealed that Judy faked this letter.
They do
from
have
her
a brother. They do have the brother is real.
He is real, but he did not reach out to them. Judy reached out to them and faked her brother's handwriting or whatever and invited these two guys to the club.
Betty calls Judy out on it, but Judy says like, "Oh, it's all business. It's business." And there's nothing to be done about it because these two famous producers are here. So they go out to do their act. I love this number. I love this song. I love this number.
It's a good number.
It's a good number.
No, I do love this song. That's the thing. I knew most of the songs just because of, like, hearing them, but I had never, like, seen the bits.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Oh,
that gets me really excited for what's coming after this.
Jesus Christ, I have questions about some of these numbers.
Okay, so if you don't know, this is like one of our first numbers after the war. We get a peek at one of the numbers that the sisters do in their traveling act. The song is called Sisters. There's a lot of mimicking choreography. It is about their sister relationship. I always get it stuck in my head. But they perform it, and we see Phil and Bob watching them, and we see them both instantly hard eyes for one of the sisters. Bob Betty falls into Betty's blue eyes, and Phil makes eyes at Judy.
Yes.
It's a whole thing. They watch the song, the girls finish the song, they clap, they go backstage, they get changed, they come back, and they sit at the table with Phil and Bob.
And Phil is so weird the entire time. He's so awkward. He has no chill.
No, because he's trying, I think he's just throwing any woman at Bob. He hasn't given up.
Well, and also he noticed that Bob couldn't take his eyes off Betty. He's just like, I have a shot.
Yes, he's like, great. Because Bob has not shown any interest in any woman.
Anyone.
Forever.
Now, Judy keeps trying to steer back to the act because this is the reason why she invited them. She
this
wanted
was her
free
angle.
Advice. So she's like, so what did you think? He was like, oh, no, it was great. She was like, no.
I want
what
notes.
did you think?
Yeah.
I want notes. But Phil, in an effort to get Bob and Betty alone, pulls Judy off to dance.
Yeah, and Vera Ellen's a great dancer.
Oh my God, she's incredible.
She's incredible. And so a funny thing happens where Phil and Judy are dancing, so they can't hear what Betty and Bob are saying. And they think like, oh, it's going swimmingly. And actually, immediately, as soon as Judy gets up, Betty's like, okay, so here's the deal. Our brother didn't write that. I'm sorry. Like, this, you have been led here under false pretenses.
Yeah.
And they actually,
And, like,
they start to
And Bob
bicker.
is, like, really cynical, and they kind of bicker at each other, and he's just like, no, I get it. It's showbiz. Like, everyone has an angle. Like, I should have known that you two would have an angle, too. And she gets offended by that, even though there absolutely was an angle.
Yeah, but Betty wasn't looped into the angle. Judy had an angle. Betty's just been bamboozled as well. Cut back to Phil and Judy, who are both, like, they're kind of flirting, they're talking, and it's revealed Judy and Betty are booked for the holidays, and they're going up to Vermont tomorrow because that's where their next gig is. And Phil's like, oh, maybe I'll find myself in Vermont as well. Like,
oh,
I think
you know the snow? And she's like, that's what I just said, that it's
Phil's
great
just-
with the snow. And he's like, I don't know.
Phil's just bad at
So
talking to
dumb.
women. That's the whole
It's
shtick.
so bad.
But when words fail them, they take it out to the
They
patio.
dance! So they go out to the patio, and he starts to sing "The Best Things Happen While You're Dancing," and this was the song that turned it into a musical.
It
I was
is.
worried that it was going to be a movie with music. It is not. It is a
not.
musical.
I wrote the same
and
thing. I was like, and now it's a musical.
Now it's a musical. So he sings "The Best Things Happen While You're Dancing," and there's this huge dance break, and she is spinning circles around him.
And he's like keeping up.
He's doing good, but he's not doing great.
No, it's like the difference of like a professional athlete and someone who is just like a home athlete.
Greg from accounting.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah. No, because like, but if Greg from accounting could dance, you know.
Yeah.
But like one of them is
it's
pro.
amazing. But I was so distracted by the fact that his shoes were the exact same color as his suit. And it looked like he was wearing onesie, and I couldn't get over it.
I also noticed that. I was just very concerned they were going to fall in the water. And I've seen this movie
That
before.
too!
I know they're not going to fall off the dock, but like when she swings on the pole over him.
The pole swinging, so good.
And they
Anyway.
stick the final pose, and Betty comes
They
out
stick the
being like, where have you been?
What is this pose?
Yeah.
Just then, they're about to go on to do their final number. However, the club owner comes in and is like, hi, there's someone here to arrest you. And I was like, what?
I forgot about this.
That was a plot twist that I wasn't expecting. I was like, is there a gangster I should know about? No, there's no gangster.
No, I will say this sheriff might be the waiter, though. It's like very
No,
brief.
our waiter is the housekeeper. She deserves the world.
She deserves the world. I don't think she's a waiter, though, because she, like, is involved in the scheming. A waiter is truly like a third party.
She's not involved. She
bystander.
just listens in.
No, but but like when they're trying to get him to
the whole time.
We'll get to it. I'm going to defend
We'll
this
get to
first.
it.
I hold the thing where like a waiter truly has to be like a non-playable character who is just there to do their job.
We called Pip the waiter of Enchanted. He's just doing
And
his
I
job.
stand by that. Anyway, yes, you are correct. The house manager, owner of the hotel, whatever, is there to be like, hey, the sheriff's here to arrest you. And what happened is that the girls skipped out on their hotel because the hotel was trying to get them to pay an extra $200 charge, claiming
Because
that
they
they
claimed that there was like a damaged rug.
Yeah, they like burnt a hole in the rug. I think it must have been like a recognizable scam, maybe in the entertaining circuit, because Phil's immediately like, oh god, that old song and dance? No, we're gonna help you get away with this. So what they do is that Bob and Phil help the girls sneak out. So the girls have already done half of the sneaking, where they've already checked out of the hotel, they've brought all their luggage to their dressing room.
Yes.
So what Phil decides to do is he's like, you can't stay here. You need to get out right now. I know. Take our train tickets to New York. The girls have tickets, but they're not good until the next day.
And he also tells them that it was Bob's idea.
Yeah.
Surprised it
All right,
wasn't.
Bob's not there.
And he helps them climb out the window and get into a cab. But then they're like, shit, we have to delay this sheriff. Okay, how do we delay this sheriff except by obviously doing a number ourselves?
How can we
then
just
we get
distract the sheriff? And then we get
baby drag.
Okay, so correct. Because Phil gets the idea by seeing a record player. So the girls have a pre-recorded audio of the song that they sang before, Sisters. So to bamboozle the sheriff, Bob and Phil put on half of the costumes and they do the Sisters number lip-syncing in some of the costumes.
With, like, makeup and, like, fans.
And the fans.
And, like, it's just a big baby drag number. I loved this.
I
thought it was great. This might be my moment of joy.
It's a good moment of joy. The laughing is real because they were just breaking the whole time.
Yeah, Bing Crosby genuinely breaks through this. And it was so funny because they had a couple of takes where he actually made it through without laughing, and they tested it on audiences, and the one where he breaks, like, made it way better. And so, yeah, so it's honestly a delight. I loved this moment. I thought it was hilarious.
The song ends, the boys go backstage, and that's when the sheriff is like, all right, no, hey, you two! And he tries to chase them into the dressing room. They lock the door, they barricade the door, and Phil and Bob also escape out the window into a taxi cab.
Into a taxi.
And
so funny.
They run and they catch the train, and Bob's like, oh, thank God, Phil, give the conductor the tickets. Phil's like...
Because they had a carriage car with beds in it, so Bob is just like, I just want to lie down, I just want to go to sleep.
I just had to perform drag that I did not rehearse. Like, I need a bed.
Yep. And so Phil just, like, does the whole pat his pockets, knowing full well that they're not in his pockets anymore. So it turns out that they have to buy club car tickets, which means that they can't lay down. They have to
stay up all night in the club car.
And Bob is furious, of course.
And on the way to the club car, Phil gets knocked into a door accidentally, and it is revealed, like, both Judy and Betty make eye contact with Phil, and Bob's only catches, like, a glimpse of blonde hair in that stateroom. Cut to Bob and Phil in the dining car. Just like Bob's just like complaining, and he puts it together. We see him in real time realize that those girls that he saw in that club car were the sisters. You didn't. And Bob's like, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna throw them off the train. Like, this is ridiculous. I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind. And just then the sisters come into the club car and, like, profusely thank Bob.
Like, oh, thank you so much. Phil told us what you did. Like, whole deal.
And he's just like, fuck. All right, fine.
Damn it. So they decide to all have dinner together in the club car. So they all get sandwiches and drinks and all of that. And they talk about how the girls are going to Vermont because they're booked as performers at this inn. And through this conversation, they sort of convince Bob, Phil and the girls, convince Bob to come to Vermont for Christmas, because they're like, oh, but the snow, it will be so beautiful. And then they move into the song Snow, which is pointless.
It is pointless. It's fun. It's like a good excuse for, like, the four of them to sing. Listen, there are more useless numbers later. So if we're talking about cutting numbers,
Anna, there are so many useless songs in this show. In fact, I'm gonna fight the majority of the songs in this show are useless. Yeah,
I can think of quite a few that could have been cut, and in the stage version, I think are.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, we get the snow, we get them, they're, like, excited for a white Christmas. We see a little bit of, like, sparkles happening between Bob and Betty, which Judy and Phil, like, watch and are, like, pleased about.
Yes.
Cut to the next day, the train arrives, it rumbles into Pine Tree, Vermont, and they're like, awesome, we're here. Wait, this doesn't look like Vermont, there's no snow. And it's revealed that they haven't had snow since...
Global warming has happened.
They haven't had snow since Thanksgiving, and all the tourists are leaving because there's just... Vermont's marketed as, like, America's winter playground, and...
Yeah, exactly.
There's no snow. So they're like, all right.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Shit.
The girls... I had a really funny note. So they get in... They must have a car prearranged, or maybe they just grab a cab. But... they're all, like, joking about how the fact that there's no snow, and they get in front of the car that they're gonna use to take them to the hotel where they're staying, but then the four of them do, like, a very, very small reprise of the snow, da 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 da, and I was just like, oh my god, musical theater kids are so annoying.
We're the worst.
We're the worst. That poor taxi driver is just like, can we go?
God damn it. And I have also been that person.
I have been that person. Oh my god. It was such a funny moment of, like, outside of my body being like, I would hate that.
I would hate myself.
Anyway.
15-year-old.
The foursome arrive at the Columbia Inn in Pine Tree, Vermont, which is where the girls have been contracted to perform for the holidays. They go to check in.
And we meet my favorite
We meet
character.
Emma. We meet Emma, the housekeeper. It's also very clear that no one is staying there.
Zero people are there.
Zero people are there. Because Emma is just like, oh, great, guests!
A customer!
So excited to have people there. But Emma is just like, oh, shit, girls, we don't have use for you. We'll like, we're going to have to cancel, but we can, like, pay
we'll
you
pay half your bill,
rate.
which is what we agreed. Yeah. Just then, who should walk in but the general? So
General
it turns
Waverly!
out their General Waverly is the landlord of this hotel. And Bob and Phil are shocked to see him there.
Yeah. One, they haven't seen him in years. Two, it's this man whom they have revered and looked up to and respected their whole professional careers. It's very odd for them to see him not only in civilian clothes, but like doing janitorial tasks. Because he's like lugging firewood around, and they're just like, "What? This is beneath you." And he's like, "This is home ownership, boys."
This is how you run a business, babe.
Yes.
So Emma, the housekeeper, is just like, "Oh, I already told the girls, like, we have to cancel." And he's like, No. I don't back out on any of my deals. You will still perform. I will still pay your full contract. People from the town will still come in. It won't be the amount of, like, numbers because we don't have the tourists, but you will still perform. Cut to that night. We see them doing their song, Sisters,
song.
to a like sort of scattered
almost
audience.
empty dining room. It's also established that Bob and Phil are gonna just stay a couple days and like hang out with the girls.
Yeah. Now, Emma comes to Bob and Phil's table and sort of reveals to them that Waverly has basically put his entire life savings into this hotel, and he's basically on the verge of bankruptcy.
And if this winter continues as it has, with the fact that there's no snow, there's no guests, like, this is gonna ruin him. This will be, like, the last winter.
Yeah, absolutely. So they get an idea.
Like, they get one of many ideas throughout this film. The first idea is they're like, oh, well, you know what, like, Bob and Phil still have, like, a pretty big following. Like, they could do their old act. Like, they could, like, bring their old act here. That'll draw customers in.
And we'll, like, pull the girls in, so it'll be all four of us. That'll be great.
And then Bob gets a different idea where he's like, wait. We gave our whole show, playing around, whatever the name is, a full week off.
Yeah.
Let's negate that contract, ship them up to Vermont, and we'll pay them.
Yeah.
And we'll put on the whole show in 3 days.
We'll ship all of the sets
from
and costumes
Florida
to Vermont.
Yeah. And get as many of the cast and crew as they can.
Yeah.
3 days notice. Emma is over the moon. She's like, this is fantastic idea. Cut to the next day.
Because she has my favorite line, because she hears Bob on the phone, because as she says, like any self-respecting housekeeper, I was listening on the other line. And I'm like, my hero.
Yeah, I love Emma. Protect Emma.
She also calls herself the charter president of Busybodies Anonymous, and I'm just like, my hero. I fucking love her.
I love her so much. She's got one of my favorite lines later. But she's so grateful that Bob and Phil are helping out the general. Cut to the next day. The general's driving around in his old, like, army jeep, and like suddenly there are actors everywhere, and he's so confused.
He's a bit confused, but you know, he got the spirit, so he lets them rehearse there.
Yeah, but he doesn't think that it's actually going to be a success. He's like, I don't think people are going to show up. Like, I appreciate you doing this, but I don't think it's...
Well, and Bob kind of sells it as like, oh no, you're doing us a favor. This is how we can rehearse new acts. And I was like, because that's how stage show works? No. And so that's sort of how it's sold to him. So they let it. And so we start a montage of like a bunch of different rehearsals. Then we cut to a giant fucking stage with like flies and like huge budget. How, Anna?
It's the no business, like, show business conundrum. Like, we're just ignoring stage sizes and also set changes.
It had big, like, Kiss Me Kate energy. Remember there was that whole thing where we're just like, where does that take place? Is there another stage next to the stage?
Oh, the catwalk that then disappeared?
The catwalk that disappeared? Like, what?
No, our first number is the minstrel number, the costumes, the wigs.
They have sets that fly up, and like they have at one point, like they have trap doors in which people can rise up from the bottom. Someone flies down. I was just like, where did you get this infrastructure?
Here's the thing.
There's a full orchestra, Anna.
Shaky sweaters, Grace. Shaky sweaters. I will say. So they've essentially taken the whole like dining room. And they brought the show up from Miami with all the infrastructure. Like, they brought lights up. So I'm saying, like, they moved the grid in. I don't know. They built trapdoors. I don't know.
Okay, so then we get a song called The Minstrel Show, which is mixed with a couple of other songs as well that I forgot to write down the name of. It's a useless thing. It's like a dress rehearsal. There's this wild dance with a bunch of men with green and red tuxes. They looked like elves. It was so crazy. They also had shoes that fully matched the green. That was very distracting.
They do like full budget, full wigs, full thing, and then it ends up just being a rehearsal.
Yeah, and then there's like 3 of them. It's like the general and the housekeeper and the granddaughter just like
clapping.
Good job.
Yes, that was lovely.
And Anna, I don't know if you clocked this, the tambourines had faces.
They did have faces on them. The dancing was good. Like,
no, the dancing was great. The dancing is not my issue. I literally wrote, oh my god, she has legs for days. She keeps kicking her face.
All right. Cut to character development. Bob and Betty are getting closer. Judy and Phil are just like conniving to get them together. Cut to that evening, Judy and Betty are in twin beds. Betty, like can't get comfy. Judy's like, I think you should go get a snack in the main dining room.
Because she had just seen out the window Bob head to the main dining room. And, like, her and Phil make eye contact across, like, these 2 different rooms from outside. And so they're just like, okay, he's gone. And she's like, cool, I'll get her to go. Like, and so she, like, tricks her sister.
She fully bullies her sister. Not even tricky. She just, Betty eventually she's like, fine, I'm going to go so you stop talking about it.
I know.
But Betty goes to the main dining hall, and guess who's there? Bob is there futzing around on the piano. And they engage in some light flirting.
There's some flirts. And Betty ends up saying, I don't know, like, why I'm having such a hard time sleeping. And they're, like, making eye contact. And then he starts to sing the song, Count Your Blessings.
Yeah, but he's like, well, when I can't sleep, Bing Crosby sings to me. No, the song is Count Your Blessings instead of Sheep. It's lovely. It's a lovely little crooner.
It's just a cute
lullaby.
Little crooner song. Bing's voice, no notes.
And after the song, she's like, I think what you're doing for the general is great. And then we get a kiss, and immediately they are interrupted by the general.
I know. Well, I do want to say, so she does say, hey, listen, whenever we talked in Florida, I want to apologize for what I was saying. Like, I was judging you and sort of assumed cynical intentions, and what you were doing for the general is incredibly selfless. And so that's important because that comes up later.
Yes.
Cut to the next day. The general is sitting outside and Bob comes up to talk to him, and it turns out that the general has applied to go back into the army for active duty.
Yeah, because the general's like, this hotel thing didn't work out. I'm gonna go. They'll be glad to take me, and I'm waiting for a letter from Washington any day. And Bob's like, oh, fuck, that reminds me. I picked up the mail. Here you go. Oh, here's the letter from Washington. And the general's like, oh, I don't have my glasses. Can you read it for me? And Bob reads the letter for him, and he gets rejected. He's just like, no, you're old, you are out to pasture, you can't come back from pasture.
Well, and it was kind of humiliating because how the letter was written made it seem like they thought that the general was doing a joke, like that his request to go back was a joke, because they're like, oh, you couldn't, oh, what a man, that really brightened my day, what a joke that was, I can't wait until I'm like you sitting on the porch in a rocking chair kind of thing, like out to pasture. Yeah, that was a rough rejection letter, because he wasn't even taken seriously. It was just like, this must be a joke.
Yeah. Bob tells Phil about this, and he's like, you know what? I have another idea. Here's what I'm gonna do.
This guy's full of ideas.
In addition to having the entire show up here, I'm gonna get our full 151st Army Division up here for the holidays to let the general know that he is not forgotten. And here's how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go into New York. I'm gonna do that Ed Sullivan appearance that we said we were gonna do. That's the best way to get the news out to the 151st Division. I'm gonna go on and be like, hey, if you were in this division, be in Vermont tomorrow.
Yeah.
Then we get my favorite useless number.
I hated this. The fact that they were using this to make fun of Martha Graham pisses me off beyond belief. Like, it genuinely makes me angry that they were just like, oh, Martha Graham, lyrical dance, that's not real dance. I'm like, it's fucking Martha Graham. First of all, how dare you?
This song always takes me out of this show because it doesn't fit.
Cut it.
And just cut it. And I hope it is cut. In the stage productions.
Yeah. So it's called choreography, and it's about how, no one dances anymore. Now it's just choreography, and it's all very lyrical modern dance, again, specifically making fun of Martha Graham choreography, which, anger. So anyway, that happens.
That happens. Cut to Bob calling Ed Harrison directly in New York and saying, hey, I'm gonna come in, I want to do this, and Ed Harrison is like, oh, you know what, why don't we just like bring a whole like TV crew up and we'll film you, it'll be great press for you, for your show. And during this conversation, Emma is listening on the other line, and she hears Ed Harrison being like, it'll be great for you, it'll be like worth $100,000 worth of free
we'll put the
press.
general on, it's a sob story, that'll be great.
Yeah, and she
everyone loves
hears
that at Christmas. Yeah.
And she hangs up. And so she does not hear Bob say, no, I do not want to do that. That we are doing this for him. Yeah, I don't want to embarrass him.
Yeah, exactly.
And so the whole plot device of Act 2 is that Emma has misunderstood the angle of involving Ed Harrison.
Exactly. Now, Bob leaves and Betty comes in and Emma reveals what she heard to Betty.
Emma can't keep a secret to save her life.
Absolutely not. So she revealed what she heard to Betty, and Betty is like, oh, so that whole thing that I thought that you were doing just for the general that was so selfless, this was actually about promotion for your show and you're going to take advantage of him? What an asshole. So she's immediately like, I was bamboozled, I was tricked, I was manipulated.
And right then, Betty has to go rehearse with Bob because they're thinking about adding the Count Your Blessings instead of Sheep number into the show.
God, this show is so chaotic. I can't.
Communication is the biggest gripe for me because here's the thing. Betty goes, and instead of confronting Bob about what she just learned, she's just like, I don't think I'm right for this song. I don't think I'm right for this show. She doesn't tell him why he's just like, what the fuck is going on? And we were great. And she doesn't tell him why she's angry. So they just argue.
And he thinks that she's regretting the kiss that they had. He was like, listen, there's no assumption here. But she just like won't talk about it.
So they argue and she storms out. Afterwards, Phil and Judy both see Betty storm out and they see Bob storm out shortly afterwards and they debrief. Judy thinks, Judy thinks it's her fault because she's not, and Phil God, Judy's like, I know what's wrong.
Yes.
My sister Betty, God bless her, is holding herself back from falling in love with Bob because she's so concerned about me, her younger sister, not being taken care of. She's such a doting mother hen. And Phil's like, I don't think so.
I don't know. And Judy's like, no, this is happening.
It. That's 100% what's
happening.
happening.
And Phil's like, okay. And so Judy's like, you know what would give her an opening? Because she just wants to make sure I'm taken care of. I need a fake engagement, which is one of my favorite plot devices in a romance novel. Fake dating.
Phil's like, oh yeah, like, okay. And she's like, I need a guy that's this.
Yeah, like, who could you find up here? I don't know. There's not a lot of people up here. And she's like looking directly at him.
She was like, you freaking idiot. It's you. And he's just like, oh no. But she's like, it'd only be for like 2 or 3 weeks most. Like, she really sells him on it, and he agrees.
But she's like aggressive about it. He keeps like backing up, and she's like leaning over him. It's so funny.
What they're trying to imply is that he likes her, but he just does not know how to talk to women.
Absolutely.
Lazy. Anyway, he agrees.
Anyway, cut to a cast party.
Cut to a cast party tonight. People are dancing, there's a piano, and Betty and Bob are sitting at opposite ends of the party.
Opposite ends of the room, upset, drinking. So what the agreement was is that Phil and Judy were like, we're going to try everything we can, but we'll use the engagement as sort of like a last-ditch effort. So before they announce the engagement, they're like, oh, maybe like Phil goes to grab Betty to dance.
Bamboozle them into dancing together.
Yeah. And Judy grabs Bob, and so they dance, and then during the dance, they, like, switch partners, but they stop dancing, so they try again, but it doesn't work. And so at the end of this, they're just like, okay. So Phil announces the engagement quite badly. He's a bad public speaker.
Yeah.
And Betty comes around and congratulates her sister, but seems quite sad and ends up leaving the room. Mm-hmm. Phil and Judy sort of encourage Bob. They're like, now I think everything will be fine. Why don't you go talk to her now? And so he goes to talk to her and like brings her some champagne. And he's like, I hope that everything can go back to the way it was yesterday. And she just leaves the room, slams the door.
She won't toast with him. She slams the door. And I just wrote all caps, communicate.
Communication is key.
Cut to that night. Betty is full on just like silently crying in bed, and Judy, she implies that, now I'm taken care of. You can do whatever you want. Like,
but she
we
also
never thought the act
says,
would go on forever.
That was the thing that she says, where it's just like, this act couldn't go on forever. At some point, one of us is going to want to go off and like do our own thing. And so Betty kind of gets this rejection from her sister as well, thinking that her sister's no longer interested in working with her, when really what Judy's just trying to do is open the door for her to be in a relationship because she doesn't have to take care of her sister anymore. It's just, again, miscommunication. So,
cut to the next day. Cut to the train station. Yeah. The general has given Judy a ride to the train station, and she gives him a letter to take back to give to Betty. So Judy has left without saying goodbye. However, Bob is also at the train station because he's giving the conductor's station master, whatever, a heads up, being like, hey, after tonight, like a lot
of people are going to be coming.
Of trains are going to be coming through. Can you handle it? And he was like, I don't know. And
like, I mean, yes or no, the trains will still come. Like, I can't just say no here. Like,
yeah, but Bob sees Betty getting on the train. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's a whole train moment if she's on the train and he's like almost like trotting along with the train, but then it moves on. And
but she says like, I got a job in New York. I'm going to New York. Have a nice life.
So, cut to more rehearsal.
Yeah, another unnecessary number that just shows that like Vera Allen is an amazing dancer. Great, cool, moving on.
After this dance,
Judy
is
brought
given
Betty's letter.
And we have a lovely paused screenshot of this letter so that the audience can read it for themselves. But also it doesn't show the whole letter. It like cuts off at the bottom. Anyway, so
I was looking at it, I was just like,
says, you know,
it's not moving.
I got my own act. I'll be in New York.
I'm so happy for you in
all
this
the best
like, next
with
chapter of your life. Yeah. Judy like runs to Phil. She was like, we fucked up.
Yeah, we done fucked up. Cut to Bob berating these two dummies for their plan. He's like, why did you think that this would work?
In what world did you think a fake engagement was gonna turn out okay?
Yeah. So he was already on his way to New York anyway to do the Ed Harrison show. And so he's like, I'm going to go down and tell Betty that this engagement was fake and that you still want to be the act together.
To do the sisters act.
Cut down to the club.
Before Bob leaves, he goes to Phil and he goes like, okay, I'm going to go do Ed Harris tonight. You have one job. The general watches Ed Harris, like loves Ed Harris. And he's like, you cannot let the general watch Ed Harris tonight because otherwise it's going to ruin the surprise. And Phil's like, got it.
So cut to the club that Betty's opening at. Bob comes in and sits sort of near the front, and she sees him in the audience and like wants to change the number, but the manager just sort of was like, no, and then ushers her on stage. What? No. And then ushers her on stage.
That dress.
Her dress. She looks phenomenal.
She looks amazing. The reason she wanted to change the number is because the song is called Love You Did Me Wrong. It's very pointed. Yeah. It's very just like her working out like her emotional.
Absolutely. And did you notice?
George Chakiris?
Yeah. He showed up.
I told you he was in this. This came up when we did West Side Story.
Anna, do you think that I remember that? No. I had no idea. I hadn't done my dramaturgy, so I hadn't read through the fun facts yet. And he showed up, and I said in all caps, I'm like, is that Baby Bernardo?
Oh, yeah, it is. It's Baby Bernardo.
Yes, it is. Baby Bernardo.
As like unnamed dancer number 4. Turtleneck dancer number 4.
Uncredited. Anyway.
So after Betty's performance, she goes and sits at Bob's table, and he clues her in about Phil and Judy's plot of the fake engagement. And he also tries to apologize, but to be fair, he doesn't know really why she's angry at him. He's just making assumptions about why she's angry at him. And so they keep missing each other in terms of apology.
No one communicates. And just then, Ed Harrison
shows up.
And it's just like, hey, we gotta go be on the show and do everything that we talked about. So Betty gets upset again because she's like, oh, you're still going through with this plan of embarrassing the general and using his misfortune to promote your own show.
However, she's not so mad that she doesn't watch the Ed Harrison show.
No.
Cut to Vermont really quick. We get the hijinks. So Phil's great plan.
He had an idea
to stop the general from watching
the amount of ideas.
Ed Harrison show. He pretends to fall down the stairs and injure himself so badly that he requires the general's attention for at least the next 25 minutes.
And so he's like, well, let me just help you into where we're watching the Ed Sullivan show and you can just sit down. He's like, no, it needs movement. If you
I need
just
to go walk around the
barn.
3 times.
3 times. And he's like checking his watch. Anyway, cut to the Harrison show, and we see Bob singing the song, "What Can You Do with a General?" and then making a call to the entire 151st Division. He's like, I know it's last minute. I'm sorry. I know it's rough to, like, leave your family, but we really need to come and support our general, and if you can make it up, it will be at my expense. Like, I will pay for everyone to come up. This is for him.
And then it's a surprise.
And it's a surprise, so don't tell him.
I said Betty clearly wasn't so mad at Bob that she didn't watch the Ed Harrison show, so she watches the show backstage, and she realizes that she was in the wrong in assuming
that she was just mistaken. Yeah.
She was mistaken. She was misled. And so she's like, I gotta get to Vermont. Cut to Vermont. Crowds. Chaos descending on this.
How many people were in this unit? Anyway.
I don't know. But also that they brought wives and they brought family.
Yeah, family,
like, it's not
and
just,
it's like, a last-minute vacation, paid vacation up to Vermont. Yeah, fuck it, let's go.
Yeah. Cut to the general trying to get dressed. Okay, favorite scene. The general's trying to get dressed, but it turns out he only has 2 suits, but Emma has sent them both to the dry cleaners in a plot to get him to have to wear his uniform.
Yes.
The best line is Emma makes some comment, and he goes, I just got along just fine without you when I was in the army. And she goes, yeah, it took 15,000 men to take my place. Like,
Queen. Amazing.
We see Betty arrive, reunite with Emma and the granddaughter, as well as Judy, and Judy, like, whisks Betty away backstage to get ready. And there's this really sweet moment. Like, the general's granddaughter isn't a major character, but I love the moment where she sees her grandfather coming down the stairs in his uniform.
I don't think
that's when I started crying.
Yeah. And she's just odd. So he, like, offers her his arm, and so the granddaughter takes his arm and, like, walks him into the ballroom, and as soon as the ballroom he enters, suddenly a spotlight is on him. We hear 10 hut, and there's a bunch of his army people there ready for inspection. Yeah. And everyone starts applauding.
I just watched it and I'm crying about it again. Yeah, they all start applauding. There's a special cake for him on his table that's dedicated to the regiment. There's, like, a silly thing where Bob's like, the troops are ready for a routine inspection, and the general plays, like, a hard-ass, like, you're lazy, and you're undistinguished, and you're
your
disgrace.
Ties are tight, and
Yeah, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah. You know what this reminded me of? And it's not going to be my homework, but if you ever watch it. So Jackie Chan had a thing where he was talking about his stunt studio that he had created as, like, a place to do that, because especially in film in China at that point, there wasn't like really a safe place to learn that. And so he created his own studio, and he talked about that. And while he's talking about it, as a surprise, behind him, his first graduating class of students line up behind him, and he doesn't know that they're there. And so he's talking, and then he, like, turns to go gesture to something on the screen and sees them all there, and he bursts into tears.
Oh no! I love shit like that.
I know. I'll see if I can find that Jackie Chan video, because it gets me every time. Just his face, like, as he realizes that they're all there for him.
Cut to the next number, which is Phil and Bob. This song always gets stuck in my head, singing the song I Wish I Was Back in the Army. And then, so it's the 2 of them, and then surprise, Judy and Betty are also in on it. So they come out on stage, and it's a surprise for Bob because he doesn't know that Betty has come back from New York. And so they do that song. It's fine, it's cute, it's kitschy. There's applause.
This is the finale.
This is the 11 o'clock number. Yeah. And during the applause of that number, the general's kind of like, someone comes and whispers in his ear, and they take him out onto the porch, and it's snowing. Yeah. And then we get the weirdest finale. We see it backstage first. They're like, Bob and Phil are dressed as Santa Claus. Yeah. We see Betty dressed as Mrs. Claus, I don't know, sneaking, like, a present into his sack. We see him, like, not see it and ushering, like, the kids backstage. And then they move into the final number, which is White Christmas?
Yes, it's White Christmas.
And there's a big tree. There's a bunch of, like, little itty-bitties dressed as choir boys and ballerinas. At this moment when I watch this, I'm like, those kids are too young to be on point. It's like, I hate it. But during the song, while the kids are performing, Bob, like, sneaks around the back of the Christmas tree and opens up, like, sees this present that he didn't know was there, opens it up, and it's Betty has given him a statue, like, of a little white knight, because he's, a knight in shining armor, because that's what he has.
They'd had a
that was, like, a bit
about,
between them. And so they kiss, Phil and Judy kiss, and then the finale ends with them opening, like lifting up the backdrop.
Where did they get this backdrop fly space?
Don't ask. And I think what I'm supposed to be revealed is that they've opened it up so that everyone can see that it is actively snowing.
It is actually snowing, yeah.
It would be so cold to suddenly open up these barn
Whoosh.
doors.
And
so I
that's
was just
the
like,
end.
Is it a backdrop? That's the end. That's my Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh, I cry every time at the end. I just...
Oh.
Grace, what
So
did you
good.
think?
I had questions about
Fair.
logistics. I had questions about plot and communication. It's a silly, fun movie. Will I watch it every Christmas? I'm gonna be honest, probably not.
That's okay.
Just because I didn't grow up with the nostalgia around it, and so I watched it just as like a, oh, I get it. But the dancing was really fun. Obviously, the singing was great. I mean, you have Rosemary Clooney, you have Bing Crosby, like, it's gonna be awesome. Yeah, I had a good time.
Okay.
It was wholesome, it was sweet, it wasn't as stupid as some other ones that we've watched.
This movie brings me, it's good nostalgia. I accept its flaws, but they're not so dire that they make me not willing to watch it again. I can laugh
Fair.
at it. I fully was just like, when the choreography number came on, I was just like, oh right, I always skip this.
Because it's useless and mean.
Yeah, there's quite a few of those dances where I'm like, I know these are good dances. I've seen them before. They don't.
Well, it's like the dance that we fully skipped over, the Abraham.
Yeah,
Abraham or whatever, that has no point, but it's so good. It's a good dance
Here's
number.
the thing,
And in fact, that might be my homework, just because it's pointless. It's not useful. It's not a part of this plot at all.
No.
But it really highlights Vera Ellen, and she's incredible.
It does. Also, there were the first dance of the best things happen while you're dancing, that dance moved the plot forward.
Yes.
The rest of the dances, because they took place in the concept of a performance rehearsal, they didn't move the plot forward. No, they were just there to showcase the dancing.
Which, fair, they had a lot of really talented dancers.
But it got repetitive, is the thing.
Oh, yes, it
only
absolutely
really needed
was.
one.
Yeah, just cut out 2 of those.
Yeah.
Yoink them out.
Well, I'm glad you got to watch it for the first time.
I know, me too. Shall we do some dramaturgy?
Dramaturgy report! Dramaturgy report! Okay. Y'all should recognize the name of this director. This was directed by Michael Curtiz, who was a Hungarian-American film director and is recognized as one of the most prolific film directors of all time. He had a really, really interesting career in that he was like a very well-established director in Europe. When Warner Brothers invited him to Hollywood in 26, he was already 39 years old. He had already had a full career. He'd already made 64 films in Europe, and when Warner Brothers was like, hey, come to Hollywood. And so he did, and he went on to make 102 more films. Most of them at Warner Brothers. He is pretty famously known for, amongst other things, directing 10 actors into Oscar nominations. He considers himself an actor's director. Yeah. His focus was always on the human interest aspects of every story. He himself was nominated for an Oscar 5 times, and he won twice. One for Best Short Subject, which I guess is like a short film, for Sons of Liberty, and then he won for Casablanca.
He's well known, yeah.
He's well known, and he was very versatile. He literally directed something in every genre. He was known as a bit of a perfectionist and a hard ass on set.
That tracks.
Which is funny because he also prioritized the actor connection and the human aspect of the story.
Right.
So I just thought those were interesting, kind of counterintuitive points.
Yeah.
The cinematographer's name was Loyal Griggs. He was
Cool.
an American cinematographer. He worked his way up at Paramount from assistant photographer all the way up to director of photography. He won an Academy Award in 1953, so the year before this, for the Western film called Shane. He did a lot of films with Paramount. Obviously, White Christmas. He did Jerry Lewis comedies like The Sad Sack and Visit to a Small Planet. He was a cinematographer on The Greatest Story Ever Told, but also we're going to know him. We keep coming back to this. He was a cinematographer for Cecil B. DeMille's The 10 Commandments. That keeps coming up.
Keeps popping up.
It's not a musical, but it just keeps coming up.
Just keeps showing up. Oh.
It's like 6 degrees of separation for The 10 Commandments.
The 10 Commandments.
for me.
Amazing. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how this got made.
Cool.
So Irving Berlin suggested this movie based on the song White Christmas, which he suggested this back in 1948. So this came out in, what was it, 54?
54.
So like 6 years prior. And so Paramount decided to put up a $2 million budget. And the writer that they hired was Norman Krasna, who was quite famous for his screwball comedies and especially plots centered on like mistaken identities. Now, originally, White Christmas was supposed to reunite Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire for their third musical together, because they had previously been in Holiday Inn together, where the song White Christmas had first appeared, and they were in Blue Skies together. Now, after reading the script that Norman Krasna wrote, Fred Astaire said no, and asked to be released from his contract with Paramount. Like, the script was so bad that Fred Astaire was like, I would want to be released from this studio.
Wow.
So Crosby also left the project shortly after to spend more time with his sons after his wife had passed. So a few years later, near the end of January 1953, Bing Crosby was persuaded to return to the project, and they brought on Donald O'Connor to replace Fred Astaire. Now, this explains the amount of dance numbers that Vera Ellen danced with a random extra, because originally it was supposed to be Donald O'Connor, who is a stunning dancer. However, just before shooting began, Donald O'Connor had to drop out because he got sick, and he was replaced by Danny Kaye, who, while he could dance, was not near the talent level of Donald O'Connor. So while he was able to do the dance number that we talked about, the one in Florida on the patio, there were a lot of extra ones, like Abraham, which we discussed, that was just with one random extra guy, and there were quite a few of those that should have been that character. It should have been Phil, but because he was like replaced a third time with someone who wasn't quite at the same quality of dancer, that they just, to save money, instead of trying to find another guy, they just threw in an extra. So Danny Kaye ended up playing this part. So to rewrite the script, because the script originally didn't, like, the material that they had for Phil, the character, was for someone else of a differing talent, they hired Mel Frank and Norman Panama to add in material specifically for Danny Kaye, but eventually they just ended up rewriting the whole script. Panama said that it was a torturous 8 weeks of writing. Frank said writing that movie was the worst experience of my life. Norman Krasna was a talented man, but it was the lousiest story I ever heard. It needed a brand new story, one that actually made sense. So,
woof.
Oof. All of the songs were, of course, written by Irving Berlin, who we already went through, which I believe I discussed during There's No Business Like Show Business. Just a little bit about the songs that were in there. The centerpiece of the film is, of course, that title song, which was first used in Holiday Inn, which that won that film an Oscar for Best Original Song in 1942. And they were like, a song so nice, we did it twice. The song Snow was originally written for the musical Call Me Madam with the title Free, but was dropped in out-of-town tryouts, so they kept the melody, but like most of the lyrics were changed to be more appropriate for like a Christmas movie. Of the 4 main cast members, 3 of them did their own singing. Vera Ellen did not. She had a dubbed singing voice done by Trudy Stevens. Now, what's interesting about this is that because of this, they were not able to issue an original soundtrack album of the film because Decca Records controlled the soundtrack rights, but Rosemary Clooney was under exclusive contract with Columbia Records. So each company ended up issuing a separate soundtrack recording. Decca was selections from Irving Berlin's White Christmas, and then Columbia was Irving Berlin's White Christmas. So it was just like they had to work around the fact that Rosemary Clooney was a recording star that had an exclusivity contract at Columbia Records, and therefore there isn't one solid the original soundtrack for this film, which I thought was interesting. Yeah. So speaking of her, I'm going to talk a little bit about Rosemary Clooney because she is a very interesting woman. So Rosemary Clooney came to prominence sort of in the early 50s with several pop numbers that we honestly know today. Boccia Me, Mambo Italiano, Hey There, This Old House, Sway. She was quite successful jazz vocalist. She and her sister Betty became entertainers. The rest of her siblings, one other one became a newsman and a television broadcaster. And, you know, they have the whole family. Two of her sons also became quite respected actors, and obviously her nephew is George Clooney. So in 1945, Betty and Rosemary, it's going to be awkward because the character's name is Betty, but
the
Rosemary and her sister
yeah.
Betty won a spot on Cincinnati's radio station WLW as singers, and they sang as a duo for much of the early career. So she ended up signing a singing contract with Columbia and cut her first record with Tony Pastor's big band in 1947. In 1951, she had a minor hit with Beautiful Brown Eyes, but her main record of Come On to My House 4 months later was her first big hit. Now, she recounted in one of her memoirs that she hated that song, but pop singers in that era didn't really have a choice in the material that they recorded, and if she refused, then there was a risk that she could be dropped by Columbia. After doing White Christmas, she and Bing Crosby ended up having quite a strong friendship, so they worked together quite a lot. They did a special together on the Edsel Show. They made a concert tour of Ireland together. They had like quite a close friendship. The last major hit that she had was I've Grown Accustomed to Your Face, which was released in 1956. And it's at that point, you know, the sensibilities of music were changing more towards rock and roll, and so her sort of style of singing, a bit more crooner era, had sort of fallen a little bit out of favor. So that was her last big one. Now, in 1976, her sister Betty died of a brain aneurysm, and so she started a foundation in memory of and named for her sister. And it was during this time that she also wrote her first autobiography. In 1983, she and her brother Nick, who I mentioned went into broadcasting, they co-chaired the Betty Clooney Foundation for the Brain Injured and addressed the needs of survivors of cognitive disabilities caused by strokes, tumors, and brain damage from trauma or age. So they had this huge foundation that they worked on as a family. In 1995, she guest starred on the medical drama ER, starring George Clooney, her nephew, and she ended up receiving a Primetime Emmy Award nomination for Outstanding Guest Actress for that. She was awarded the Society of Singers Lifetime Achievement Award in 1998. In 1999, she published her second autobiography, which talked a lot about her battles with addiction to prescription drugs and depression, and she said that she called herself a sweet singer with a big band sensibility. Yeah. In 1999, she also founded the Rosemary Clooney Music Festival, which was held in her hometown of Maysville, Kentucky, and she performed at that festival every year until her death, and proceeds benefit the restoration of the Russell Theater in Maysville, which is where her first film was premiered in 1953. At the end of 2001, she was diagnosed with lung cancer. She was a longtime smoker, and around this time, she gave one of her last concerts in Hawaii. Her last song was God Bless America, and her final show was at New Jersey's Count Basie Theater in December 2001, and she ended up passing in June of 2002, and in 2002, she received the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award.
Aww.
So that was her life. She was quite an impressive recording artist beyond just acting. She was way more of a recording artist who also did movies, as opposed to a movie artist who did a movie artist, an actor who also did recording.
Yeah.
So that's her quick overview of who she was.
I love that. I learned so much.
That's what dramaturgy's for.
That's what dramaturgy's for. Okay. I have a little bit for reviews and reception. So in terms of reception, it made so much money. It earned $12 million in 1954, which is the equivalent of $121 million last year. It was the highest grossing film that year of 1954, and it held the title of highest grossing musical film at the time. And it still ranks among like the top 100. The reviews were mixed. They were like, it's fun. It's repetitive and slow at some points, and like the whole like, the repetitive rehearsals particularly, but the whole thing's it's good. It could be better, and like the songs are good. That's kind of it. Yeah. That's it.
Should we do some singing and dancing?
Let's do some singing and dancing.
I mean, we've discussed Bing Crosby's voice.
And how dare I have
like
notes?
Butter.
Butter.
Honestly, it's just so smooth, and I get shocked every time that I rehear it. Where I'm
like
just
like the
oh,
very beginning
right.
when he was singing White Christmas,
Oh,
like almost
right.
a cappella, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh right.
Oh. Incredible. And of course, Rosemary Clooney has a wonderful, rich mezzo-alto voice.
Yeah.
And her song was incredible.
I think Danny Kaye held his own. He was always going to pale in comparison. And he was
But he had a
fine.
solid voice, and it didn't,
Yeah.
whenever they did duets, because the two guys did
They have very
duets
different
quite a few times.
qualities of voice.
They have different qualities of their voice, but I didn't feel like it...
It wasn't so different that it was jarring. They blended
No, it wasn't
well.
jarring. Yeah, they blended well. But you could tell there's a quality to Bing Crosby's voice that Danny Kaye didn't have. But
It was
it's
it was a
Bing
richer
Crosby, no one
sound, but
does.
again, like
Yeah.
it tracked for the characters that Phil had like a little bit more of just like
Who
a talky
who
style.
swindled his way into this career.
Yeah. It's like, I can sing. Like, yeah, but if you're singing next to Bing Crosby, no one's going to say you're a good singer. You're going to be like, you're a fine
exactly.
singer.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you're fine.
And then the woman that dubbed Vera Ellen had a lovely voice.
The dancing, Vera Ellen
Dance
shined.
circles around everyone.
Everyone. I think, God, what was it? Rosemary Clooney at one point in one of her memoirs said, if only they could dub my dancing. Like,
I know. Get me a body double. She like held her own, but definitely for the group numbers, the choreography paled in comparison to what Vera Ellen
well, see,
did
and I think if they had
on her
had
own.
Fred Astaire or Donald O'Connor, then they would have had like the dancing couple with them and Vera
Yeah.
Ellen, and then they would have had the singing couple with Rosemary Clooney and Bing Crosby. But because of that,
That is
because they
not what
didn't,
happened.
Vera Ellen just like
And that's why they gave her so many options. So
They
many
gave her
like, additional
so
numbers.
many things. They're just like, here, please do more dancing. Kick your
More.
face again. Let me lift you into a split. Jesus. Incredible. Anna, what's your gripe?
My gripe is that there were just several unnecessary musical numbers. That's it.
My
That is
gripe-
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
My silly gripe is, how did you build that giant
No.
fucking stage? How did you do that in 2 days' time? Also, like, my more serious gripe is don't make fun of Martha Graham. But beyond that, how did
Yeah.
you build this stage?
I mean, to be fair, if it was a touring production, they were probably very good at taking it apart. You had a day and a half for tech, probably, or
Yeah,
load
but you
in and
move
load out.
into set theaters. You don't move into a barn.
That's true. They had to build the grid. Have grid will travel.
What's your giggle or your moment of joy?
I found the dialogue. I really found myself laughing at a lot of lines, particularly Rosemary Clooney's delivery of a lot of lines.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
She had
absolutely.
good comedic timing, but I think the dialogue really helped levitate the comedy.
Yes, I get that. My giggle is my homework, which is the baby drag scene. The sisters with the guys who just can't keep it together. They just
can't
keep
keep it
laughing at
together.
themselves.
You know they were having so much fun.
Oh, they had a blast. Well, the whole reason that they did this is because they were just fucking
They
around
were just
backstage.
fucking around.
They were just fucking around, and the director was like, "Wait, that's hilarious.
Wait,
Someone
let's
start rolling."
Let's rewrite the plot to incorporate this. I wonder what the plot was before they had that.
I don't know. Anyway, delightful. So that's gonna be my homework, is the baby drag.
Amazing. Do you have any fun facts?
I have one. So for the song "Gee, I Wish I Was Back in the Army," there's
I wish
a lyric, "Jolson, Hope, and Benny all for free."
Oh, yeah.
So this is a reference to 3 wartime entertainers, Al Jolson, Bob Hope, and Jack Benny. However, the original words were Crosby, Hope, and Jolson all for free. But the lyric was changed because with
'Cause
Bing
they had
Crosby in the
Bing.
cast, they were like, we can't break the fourth wall.
But what if they did? That would be so funny.
So funny. So they had to change the lyric. I thought that was great.
I love that. I have 2 fun facts. So I brought this up. When they're in Florida doing the show, the sign mentions that they were on Broadway for 2 years, implying that the show had a really good successful run and now they're doing a tour. However, when the show is opening in Vermont, the sign says their new hit, Foolin' Around. But it's not a new hit.
It's not a new hit.
A 2.5-year-old
Years.
So there's that. There's like a little inconsistency there. And then the actor who plays the railroad conductor also played the drunk Santa Claus at the beginning of Miracle on 34th Street.
Oh, no way.
I love things like that. Where
What a
like,
legend.
Also just like, What a legend. What a legend. He just sticks to holiday movies. I don't have any homework, I don't think.
Other homework is, guys, have a good holiday. Have a good Enjoy
whatever
your
you
holiday.
celebrate, wherever you are, enjoy your time off.
Enjoy your time off if you get them. You know,
Whether it's warm or white.
Yeah, exactly. And take a moment to I don't know, drink some hot chocolate.
Holiday, whatever floats your boat.
Whatever holiday traditions you have, enjoy them and take care of yourselves.
And we're thankful for you this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you're still with us, I think this is all she wrote.
This is all she wrote.
This is all she wrote. Well, if you're still with us, thank you for tuning in. This has been our special holiday edition episode of 5678, a movie musical podcast. I've been Anna.
I'm still Grace.
Take care of yourself and others. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business, like no business I know.